Repressive power. Most humans associate it with institutions that home violence and threats. We think of judges, of police, politicians, angry bosses, of asserting power in a situation with the use of force. The less popularized concept of normalized power, on the other hand, presents us with more neutral institutions, images of hospitals, of schools. Given those differentiations, does repressive power, or normalized power, hold more? While it might seem obvious that repressive power is the most visible and therefore powerful, do they equate to the same thing? Michel Foucault, the renowned French philosopher from the 1920s, surely has a response to this. Hey, excuse me, Michel Foucault, who is she? Michel Foucault was a 20th century French philosopher who spent his career criticizing the power of the modern bourgeois capitalist state. Ironic considering he stemmed from a bourgeois family himself, which Foucault went to extensive measures to cover up his family history and deter journalists and media attention from investigating his past. His father, one of the many men in his family that belonged to a long line of successful surgeons, represented everything Foucault grew to despise about bourgeois France. He had the privilege of attending elite institutions and was a church member. Come university, he was depressed. Negatively coping through self-harm, he reached his boiling point at 22 and attempted suicide, after which his father forced him to see a psychiatrist for evaluation. The psychiatrist concluded that a good majority of Michel's internal conflict likely stemmed from suppression of his homosexuality and interest in sadomasochism. Come on! Shortly after, Foucault entered France's underground gay scene and started dating a drug dealer. Honestly, iconic? Michel Foucault focused the majority of his studies on the nature of power and its interactions with knowledge and societal control. In the infamous 1971 debate on human nature between two critical philosophers, Foucault and Noam Chomsky, we see Foucault trying to reason with Chomsky using historical and scientific basis to dispute an innate human nature claim regarding justice and power, of which Chomsky focuses more heavily on justice, while Foucault examines the history behind power and how we collectively have brought it upon ourselves. In a famous quote from Foucault, he says, "If we seek to advance right away the profile or formula of the future of society without thoroughly criticizing all forms of political power that exercise their power within society, we run the risk of letting them be reproduced even in the case of the noble and apparently pure forms, such as anarcho-syndicalism." Enough for me, though. Time to hear from the man of the hour.
Urgente, immédiate, avant même toute autre chose, c'est celle-ci. On a l'habitude, du moins dans notre société européenne, de considérer que le pouvoir, il est localisé entre les mains du gouvernement et il s'exerce par un certain nombre d'institutions bien particulières qui sont l'administration, en France on appelle ça préfectorale, enfin, je ne sais pas comment on dit ailleurs, l'administration, la police, l'armée. On sait que toutes ces institutions-là sont faites pour transmettre les ordres, les faire appliquer et punir les gens qui n'obéissent pas. Je ne peux pas m'empêcher de croire que cette notion de nature humaine, cette notion de bonté, de justice, d'essence humaine, de réalisation de l'essence humaine, tout ça, ce sont des notions et des concepts qui ont été formés à l'intérieur de notre civilisation, dans notre type de savoir, dans notre forme de philosophie, et que par conséquent, ça fait partie même de notre système de classe.
So, answering our earlier questions, given those differentiations, does repressive power or normalized power hold more? Although repressive power is the traditional way of thinking, Foucault suggests that most power does not repress at all. Instead, it works subtly. He refers to this as normalizing power. When thinking of the earlier given examples of repressive power, is it not clear that the need for each of these cases to exert power implies failure? A criminal will only have a need to be locked up if a law is broken, and a boss threatening employees is not really in control. The one who is the boss is the one who is in control with no need of threats. In other words, if you are truly powerful, you wouldn't need to use it. Foucault argues that repressive power only shapes our lives on very rare occasions. Given the same criminal example, there is a handful of people in the world that would be locked up for stealing for a reason. It is not innate to walk through a store with an overwhelming desire to steal, only stopping ourselves because of being aware of police repercussions. We don't steal because we don't want to steal. We find something lost and want to return it to the owner. This is where normalizing power comes in Foucault's mind. While repressive power has the ability to force us to do what we don't want to, normalized power is what compels us to do what we already have to do anyway, and has been designated by society. We are products of our society, Foucault argues, and that we automatically do what society wishes us to. The norm. So what is normal? Normalizing power is so powerful it is the determinant of what we as people view as normal. It quite literally constructs our view of our surroundings and selves. The paradoxical thing is that while it shapes our own identities, thoughts, beliefs, wants, at the same time it gives us the idea that they are our own thoughts, beliefs, and wants, and that no one has forced them upon us. This isn't fully a lie. Even though our lives have been shaped and defined by the normalizing powers of society, we still do live our own lives. Despite this, Foucault insisted that under what society has made of you, there's no person under there at all. No true you, or innate human nature, if you will, to peel apart and discover. He argues that, almost like domesticated animals, we always are and always will be normalized to a very large extent.